The stuff I saw going down, I was worried. I took it literally. I thought, I'm going to go to jail with these guys, you know.
Because of your actions and reporting corrupt police and instigated the Wood Royal Commission.
I had money put in my hand and I just go, even in the Wood Royal Commission, they got people in the box I gave evidence against. And they said, did she ever take $1? And they said, no. He just looked at me with this disgust and said, you don't know what a detective is. He said to me, you're a whistleblower. You know, that's cops who dob in cops. Because I very quickly learnt what a whistleblower was. Once you get marked, your career's over. I didn't know my career was over.
Welcome to another episode of I Catch Killers. When I speak to former cops on this podcast, we normally talk about investigations. But that's not the conversation I had today with former detective and whistleblower Deborah Locke. We spoke about corruption that flourished in the dark days of New South Wales policing. Deborah gave a first-hand account of what it's like being exposed to corruption and the misogynistic culture of a police force, working as a young female detective. She also talks about the cost of speaking out against what she saw. Deborah's courage led to the establishment of the Wood Royal Commission into corruption in New South Wales Police. I think you'll be shocked when you hear about Deborah's time in the police and her own personal story. Deborah Locke, thanks for coming on I Catch Killers.
Thanks, Gary. It's great to be here.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an interesting chat. I'm certain of that. And you joined the New South Wales Police, I think, about 12 months before I did. And, you know, when you go start in the police, you have no idea where that's going to take you or the road.
Yeah, I had a bit of an inkling coming from the family I came from.
Yeah.
And I was like in the last class at Redfern, which was a different sort of place because you would have been at Goulburn. So a different world. It was a...
Well, Goulburn, that was a changing of the guard there, and the last sort of class that came out of Redfern, that would have been the last of the old school. So we're talking 1984.
That's it.
And the fact that, and I'm sure it was pointed out to you at the academy, and when you started, you're female.
Oh, much so. Yeah, we were told we were lower than a police dog. You know, the police dog came up before us and...
Well, I suppose for people to understand, like it really was just a changing world. Like I'm talking 85 where I joined. I think we had affirmative action, say 30% female in the class of 100, roughly. But when you joined...
Oh, yeah, there was 4 in my class. There was 3 classes and there was 3 or 4 girls in each of the 3 groups. And it was rough. It was a hard place to get into because you had to pass all the same exams as the men. You had to be as fit as the men. You had to, you know, be actually better to get in. And I found it hard. Like I found it very hard. And we used to have to march. It was a lot of marching.
I remember the marching.
On the parade ground.
Never fully understood it.
No, but there was a lot of marching. And I remember I had to be as fit, and I'd grown up on a farm and I was pretty fit, and I ran before I got there. But I had this guy in my class, an Aboriginal guy, and he used to come back and get me and go, come on, you can do this and make it in the time.
Oh, that's nice of him.
And he got me through. And it was so sad because later on at the academy, they kicked him out on his spelling. Right. And this guy would have been such an asset, and he's saved me. I wouldn't have passed my physical.
I remember that you just brought up, reminded me of the spelling test. That was a big thing. I never thought I'd be. I should have paid more attention in the English class or whatever with spelling. But you'd be practicing. I'd be practicing at home. But
and typing. I couldn't type.
I'm still traumatised by the typing. But anyway. We got through it. Normally when we're on I Catch Killers, we talk about the cases and all that. But I want to get an understanding, because your story has been quite dramatic, what's happened to you in your period of time in the police. And for people that don't know you, just up front, it was because of your actions and reporting corrupt police and cultural issues, let's call it that in the nicest possible way, that was instigated the Wood Royal Commission.
Oh, absolutely. And it's probably my autism. I kept going. I'd read the policies and procedures, and it said if you saw corruption and you didn't say anything or do anything, you would also be guilty of that offence.
Yeah.
And the stuff I saw going down, and I was worried. I took it literally. I thought I'm going to go to jail with these guys, you know.
Yeah, and look, I understand the culture. This is why it's going to be an interesting chat, because I know the culture of what you went through, and it was tough times for anyone going through the police at that particular time. From a bloke's point of view, it was a damn sight easier than the females. New recruits, young, and the attitude that should you even be in the police? There was a lot of opinion that way. I recently had a 40-year reunion and meeting up with some of the class members, the ones that are still around, and I looked at I was going to say girls, the women that I joined the academy with, and I remember they came through and they were fresh-faced and they were nice, bright people, and I see them after, and total respect for them because the journey that they've been on, the ones that have been in there a long time, and I was having a chat to them on the night of the reunion, and they just said, "You've got no idea what we went through as police women in that era."
Police women got raped. Police women got bashed. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember one policewoman saying to me, "Oh, I have to give him a kiss before I get out of the car on night shift, and that's part of the rules." And it's like, I'm going, really? Yeah. Like, when did that rule come in?
Yeah.
But because they were naive young girls, they were 19 in that era. And what had happened was, we go back to 82, the women were wearing dresses and handbags and hats, and they were doing school lecturing and sexual assaults. That's all police women did.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until 82, it was Christine Nixon. She had a father and an uncle high up, deputy commissioners and that, and a few other handful of women that protested and said, let us do police work. We want to do police work. And they allowed them to answer the phones at King's Cross. Yeah. And lo and behold, they were shocked the girls could do it. They could answer the phones. So then they brought in culottes, which were like big, long skirt pants. Yeah. And the hats went and the gloves went and the handbags went. And they let them on the street. And all the girls, and 84 when I went there, went to King's Cross or North Sydney. Yep. And I got North Sydney. And I remember jumping a wooden fence chasing a bloke who was doing a broken enter. And I've jumped over the fence and my big baggy culottes have come over and hooked over the top of the wooden paling fence.
Got hung up.
And I'm hung up. And I'm just hanging on the fence. And I'm like waiting for someone to come. And the guys had to pick me up and pull me up off the fence. Like, that's how ridiculous the clothing was. And then later as a detective, I remember wearing pencil straight skirts with high heels and a purse and trying to chase people. And it was just not a good look. No. It was hard. It was harder.
It was hard. And look, I'm not going to shitbag all police, because there was some true gentlemen in there too. But there were some dinosaurs. Let's put them at the dinosaur.
Well, the uniform, the old guys, because what happened to me and why I ended up in court with them for sexual harassment and pregnancy discrimination was the old guys, and they'd been dinosaurs and they'd been isolated in squads and that. And what it used to be was, if a woman got engaged, she had to leave. Yeah. She had to resign. Yeah. And so I got pregnant in 92 and they went mental. I was dragged in. I was thrown on a stool in a kitchen. And I was absolutely berated and yelled at and told that, well, it's time to resign now. You've got to resign. And I'm going, no, it's all changed. I can have children and I can get married and I can start. And they're going,
what's this world? What's this world come to?
Yeah, it was just awful what happened. I ended up having a miscarriage over some of the treatment I had when I was pregnant. Yeah, I lost a baby girl, and it was totally through vicious harassment.
Yeah, there was a downside. What was the excitement for you? Like, before the world went skew-if on you. What was the joy that you got from being a police officer, and what drove you to wanting to be a police officer in the first place?
I came from a bit of a crazy family.
We're going to talk about your family.
My family. And I think Irene, my parents as a young girl back in those days, I had to call them John and Irene. And Irene was the most scariest person I ever met.
Yep.
You know, and I had run-ins with Roger Rogerson, and I still, she
not as scary as your mum.
She was good.
Yeah.
And Irene had a hit list of people she wanted to get.
Yep.
And so, my brother wanted to join the police.
Yeah.
He was 18 odd years older than me. She'd had him at 14.
Yeah.
And he didn't get in. And so she wanted me to join. And when I joined and I got in, I said, I'm going to Sydney. I'm on the streets. I'm working. She was horrified. She was going, no. You only do school lecturing and sexual assault. So I said, no, it's all changed. And then she said, oh, you got to go now. You got to leave, you know.
Yeah.
But I had a juvenile record at 11.
Right.
Coming from the family I came from, and I acted out, and what I thought was normal was not normal.
Yeah, and for people that don't understand the background of your family, your parents were alcoholics.
And addicts.
And addicts, and you had some colourful family members with... I heard you talk somewhere that you said your grandfather rode a Harley, and you had a couple of uncles associated with...
Wheel of Death, cousins that are, you know, patch wearing, and it was like, I want to be different to this lot. I don't want to, I saw my grandparents were alcoholics, all four of them, and I saw them die from the disease, and they were mad. Both my grandfathers had been shot at Gallipoli, and they'd come back,
with
Captain Rats, with the drugs and all the damage, and they used to call it shell-shocked and all that, but it was post-traumatic stress now they'd call it, and addiction, and I knew that if I'd stayed in Glenorrhea, I would have died.
Yeah.
I had to get out of Glenorrhea because I'd seen 2 generations die there, and I was on the way out,
That was your ticket away, the police, a better life. Your first station, North Sydney, what was that like? Tell us about your experiences there.
Well, at North Sydney I was in uniform, and the uniform guys are heroes. They go out every day and they don't know if they're going to come home. In the academy, that's something they did say, and it was to the men. Yeah. When you go off to start a shift, they'd say, give your wife a kiss because you don't know if you're going to come home. You want to leave on a good terms. You want it to be happy and good, just in case something does happen. It does happen sometimes. And they're risking their life every day. These guys and women are heroes on the street. Like, I'm not a cop basher. But I came across some creepy people that were abusing their power.
Yeah. And that was the times, wasn't it?
It was the times. So the cops and the crooks run close together. There was this line, and sometimes there wasn't a line even.
It's hard, isn't it? Because you're ignorant to the way of the world, and you think, okay, this is policing, and it's people all the way up, and why? And in detectives, you get exposed to it more. Why are we meeting with this person that's an informant? And okay, the informant, what, they buy us drinks, do they? And
feeds
and feeds and the meals at the restaurants and that sort of stuff. But you're thinking, okay, is this just the way the world operates? So you sort of look there with your wide eyes initially, and you're thinking, that seems like you've crossed the line. But you made reference there to uniform police men and women, and the general duties police. They are the ones at the front line, aren't they?
Doing the police work.
Yeah, because they literally do not know what you're going to turn up to every time you turn up to work. What was I think a policing career can be very much shaped by the people that you're exposed to. First up, how were the people that you had a buddy? You would have had a buddy
at North Sydney. Oh yeah, I had a great guy.
When I say buddy, I'm not talking friends, but that's what we'd call it in the cops. You get a more senior person to look after you for the first 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Yeah. And I had a buddy trainer, and he didn't like women, and so they used him for the women that came through but he was good. He was a good bloke because he wasn't trying to hit on them. Yeah. And, and every street in North Sydney I went into, he'd go, what street are we in now? And I got post-traumatic stress from that. He was just like, going, where are we? What if I get shot now? How are you going to call for assistance?
Yeah.
And he was so hard and hounded.
Yeah.
And, and a bloke wouldn't have got treated the way we did. And the women before me and the women after me, it was extra treatment to try and break us because we were women. Yeah. So, but this guy was a good guy. He was a good cop.
Okay. Well, that's good. When you go past your buddy, so you're working every shift with the person that's sort of, and it's acknowledged that you're learning. Then you get out into the real world and you're on the truck and you're driving around. You find out you're the senior person on the shift, and that because it was very junior police. What was your experience there with the general duties police, the type that you were mixing with in North Sydney?
They were great. They were good. It was, night shifts would be a cook up. And, you'd cook up. There'd be a few beers and drinks, and, but it was fun times. In that era, it was a different era. You had the manual typewriters. You didn't have the mobile phones.
Yep.
It was no Facebook. It was a different world, And the detectives were in an office that were very they came and went in their suits, and they were very secret squirrels.
If as a young uniform officer, you'd go into the detective's office and it'd be intimidating because they'd be sitting there smoking, playing cards or whatever, and they just don't even look up when you walk in and you've got to report something to them, and it just seemed to be an attitude, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And it's like I pulled a guy off the Harbour Bridge. They put me up and over, and I'm over the barrier.
What, a suicide or
attempt?
Attempt.
Yeah, this guy had a bit of a run-in with his girl. Bit sad. We pull up. This guy's going to jump over the Harbour Bridge. And Harbour Bridge, there was a lot of it at that time. They didn't have the arrows and lanes, and there was a lot of head-on accidents late at night when they'd come over the crest of the hill. But someone had called in that this guy was up standing near one of the pylons on the other side of the fence. So my buddy trainer, because he was very big and strong, pushed me up and got me over the fence. So I don't smoke. I've never smoked. I'm smoking cigarettes with this guy and going, all women are bitches, they all do that. They all sleep with your best mate, don't worry. That's all right, And he went a couple of times to push me. And then he went a couple of times to jump himself. And because of I'm a country girl, I grew up on a farming life in the old farmhouse and working on farms and that. And eventually talked him into coming back. And they pulled me up and they said, look, besides you're a girl, Cliff Rescue was there and they didn't put a harness on you. You could have died a few times.
Yeah.
So we're just going to keep this quiet.
Yeah.
And you're just going, oh, okay, yeah. But it is just another day in the life as a cop. These stuff happens.
Yeah,
you get in danger all the time.
Everyone's got that story, haven't they? Or got a whole range of stories. You can sit down and speak to any cop, and if they've been out on the street, they've got stories, and you can't make this shit up.
No. That's what I was saying earlier. Like I wrote my book, and there was about 70,000 words, and they're going, we can't print that. Yeah. That's on the public interest. We can't. That's unprintable. And I'm going, but it happened, and they're going. Yeah. But we just don't need to put it in print.
Well, I was reading your book, and very early in your book, you found love in a way at North Sydney, but the person, without naming names, because I'm sure we can't get past this, had a predisposition for wearing your panties under his
lace undies under his
uniform.
Yeah.
Now look, I think you're being unfair. Like, each
a lot more I could have written about that.
each to his own. But needless to say, that relationship didn't work out.
No. But I was heartbroken.
Yeah,
I was heartbroken. But Iron and John were happy because they wanted me to stay at home and sit on the veranda and drink.
Well, that's a common theme that you were dealing with throughout your policing career, that because your parents were alcoholics, you were virtually raising them, and I picked that. Yeah, most people are saying I've got kids to look after. You're saying I've got parents to look after, and when you look back, that's not the relationship you want with parents. You want parents there supporting you, not you supporting them. But full credit to you that you hung in there with them.
Oh, they were hard work.
Yeah,
They were naughty children, and they would ring me all the time, and they would just drive me nuts. Yeah. And every time you went home, you'd feel sick because you're driving up the road and you don't know if it's going to be blood. You got to get them in the hospital. Yeah. Like they were very violent. Yeah, and they'd punch on all the time.
So just every day domestic violence.
They hated each other. They hated each other, but they loved it. They were codependent. Yeah. They were just stuck.
It was toxic.
Stuck. Well, she was 14 and. When she had to go and run in and marry him, and she hated him. Yeah. So.
But stuck with him.
But made him pay every day.
Yeah. No, it became clear that Irene got the better of him quite often. Yeah. Okay. you're at North Sydney. You got an opportunity to do the 3-month secondment to King's Cross Drug Squad, and just explain what that role is. And it was offered to all of us when we were junior police, going up to King's Cross around that mid-80s.
Yeah, well, it wasn't off. They'd pick.
Yeah,
they'd pick people and offer it to them.
Yeah.
Like but I went up there and there was a lot of walking around the streets. A lot of, you'd have the junkies with the syringes in the morning. You'd have the kids going to school. You'd be treading on needles and that to crush them. There wasn't a lot of drinking at the Bourbon and Beefsteak. Friday afternoon, they'd put on fish cocktails and drinks.
I thought you said there wasn't a lot of drinking. That's why I was laughing.
No, a lot of drinking.
There was
a lot of drinking.
Right, okay.
A lot of drinking done.
Yeah.
And just walking around, there wasn't many arrests. It was just a bit of a token gesture. It was a bit frustrating, like I'd sort of,
because it's not hard to arrest someone at King's Cross in the 80s for drugs.
Yeah, and a few times I did just drag people back because
Yeah.
they were, and it was just like, don't be a nuisance,
Yeah.
It was just, it was interesting times. It really was, and all the characters were in the detective's office. We were downstairs, and it was plain clothes, but it was an opportunity I got where I was drinking one night. There was a lot of drinking going on, and I had two old guys in front of me, and one was from Highway Patrol and one was from detectives. Yeah. And they were saying to me, "Where do you want to go, Debbie? You want to go?" And the Highway Patrol guy seemed a lot nicer. Yeah. And he was just going, "Look, Deb, come with us. Come to Highway Patrol." And I ended up doing my high speed later on when I was doing surveillance. Yeah. And but what I thought was, well, I won't be able to drink, and I'm a shit driver. I'm going to wrap myself around a tree. Yeah. Detectives, it was a gaming squad.
Right.
I got offered a Guernsey too, and I was going, this is fun. They give you a car. Yeah. They give you lots of travelling money. They give you drinking money. Every Wednesday and Saturday we'd line up for tax-free money, cash. Yeah. And we had to do 3 pubs on a Wednesday, so and look for cockatoos and SP bookies.
Okay, that was the role.
That was the job.
Yeah.
And I'm going, wrap myself around a tree or go sit in pubs and drink. And at the gaming squad, I got to do the male strip shows if the men showed their pubic hair. It was like heaven. What a job.
So break it, and you think at that particular point in time, you think you're doing, this is what police have to do. We've got to stamp out on this. Male strippers, if they're showing pubic hair,
absolutely.
someone's got to report it.
Someone's got to do it. I'd write it on the coaster. The boys would be out in the car park. I'd go the cowboy, the astronaut, the policeman.
I'm not the astronaut.
Oh, the astronaut. Yeah, sorry for you astronauts. And did they show pubic hair or not? And I got paid for it. Yeah, it was great.
So you got your cash fund. Drinking
money.
Yeah. Did you get a sense at that particular point in time that this is steering in the wrong way?
Well, it wasn't good. It was a big office, and I was the only girl.
How many people?
About 60
so
men.
This is the gaming squad. 60 men, one
60 men.
Girl. Yeah.
Yep. There was a surveillance team of 5, and there was one girl in there.
Yep.
So I'm in a group with 60 men in an office on my own, and they were in groups of 6 or 7. Yep. And there'd be one lot down at Chinatown eating lobster and that, and there'd be games going on upstairs. Because at that time, the casino was shut, and the government wasn't getting money from gaming. And what it was, if you had more than 8 people in the room, it was an offence. Yeah. So if you were downstairs eating lobster and drinking, the game's still going on upstairs. And you go up and then, we're going to go up now. Oh, there's only 8 people. Okay, this is legal. And so obviously the government makes a lot of money. Like they built Star Casino and, that was a bit of a stupid time in history. But, so we had the Chinese mob, and then we had the Greek mob, the same thing, had a lot of lamb. And then, it was all these little groups and sections. And it was a time where there was a lot of money changing hands. There wasn't many arrests. Yep. I remember one time doing a raid. Every time we did a raid, they knew we were coming. Like the cops, there was cops taking quids.
Someone would be. So if you're an illegal gaming house or whatever, you've got a raid planned, but by the time you get there, everything's shut down, or no one's there, or someone's been tipped off. Is that what you're saying? They knew you were coming.
They knew. Like, it got to the point where when we were doing raids, they would lock us in the office and they wouldn't tell us we were going home. People would be going, "I've got to tell me missus I'm not home for tea."
Yeah.
And they'd go, no. Like, they were trying to make a serious effort.
There were people in there, in that squad, like we'd talk about the, I don't know how do we call them, larrikins? Worse than larrikins. But there were genuine people in there, in the squad, trying to make a difference.
Yeah, there was a few. And that's the trouble. If you don't go with the flow, you're ostracised.
And it's, okay, that's the thing, and that's where it gets hard, isn't it? Where I look at a lot of what I saw in police, and I just think it's such a waste of time what's been done here, and it's frustrating. And as you said, you're getting paid, you just sit there drinking. So that's your night. You sit drinking in a pub, a club, or whatever. What have we actually achieved?
But there's been money changing hands behind the scenes because there's stuff going on like that. People
and you wouldn't have been introduced to that straight up. I would imagine they would my
first day they said, "Look, we're doing a job in Queensland, we're going, we've got to take telecom with us, we've got to make this look good, look at legit." It was all bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, no. It was like, because of my personality and because I was a drinker and the family I came from, people went, "Oh, she's cool, she's all right." And I don't think they knew what to do. Because I was in that first wave of female detectives and I've got autism. I don't think they knew how to take me.
Right.
You know?
But they would have thought you're one of the boys. And
I tried so hard to be one of the boys.
Yeah,
I swore as good as the boys. I swung a punch as good as the boys.
That's
good. I drank better than the boys. But they all knew I wouldn't take quids.
Yeah.
I had money put in my hand and I'd just go.
Yeah.
Now, I drink and eat and I think, well, that's not against the law and it's and I've never said I didn't.
Yeah.
I've always been very upfront and honest. But even in the Wood Royal Commission, they got people in the box I gave evidence against. And they said, "Did she ever take $1?"
Yeah.
And they said no.
Well, my observation of it, and I was involved in that world, like the same times, the same era, the same lot. The people that were taking the money, they
had their pockets.
They kept it to themselves, and then the other ones are just left alone. Do the work,
carry the office.
Yeah,
carry the office.
Yeah. From your personal point of view, when did you start to get? Because I know it can be quite alluring where you're not actually working; you're just going away with pockets full of TA money, and you're drinking and all that. And,
it was a great time.
And a trip away, and okay, so we get TA, we get paid, and this is our job. But did it get to a point where you got sick of it, like?
Yeah.
Because it's mind-numbing, isn't it?
Well, it was terrible just every time the jobs would fall over and I got moved. It was physically dangerous for me to be on that floor with all those drunken men. Yeah. And I got moved into the surveillance team.
When you say it was dangerous for you, what?
It'd be drinking with men all the time. You're getting touched up and they want to take you back to their house and all this. Like a young girl with a heap of drunken coppers.
Yeah. And again, I balance it out because I've met more good people than I've met bad people. You might have a different take on it in the cops, but there's some blokes that are just
idiots.
And intoxicated by the power that comes with having the authority of a police officer, and then in an insulated world that would think it's appropriate, and they think they're God's gift to women, and hit on everyone.
Knock them back.
What an idiot you are! Yeah. But so and there's a way to deal with it. And I know a lot of police women and different ways of dealing with it. And I think perhaps because of your upbringing, you had the robustness to go piss off, dickhead.
But they wouldn't take it well, some of them, and then they'd get very vindictive and nasty. How dare you knock me back? And I had it. And had a few idiots that were very nasty.
And then, and what we're talking about here is someone hitting on you for sexual favours or whatever
at
you
work.
want to call it. At work, and you knock them back. So all of a sudden you're working the shit shifts or put on the dud jobs.
Yeah. Or driving in front of a Mack truck.
Tell us about that without naming names, but just
change the names to protect the guilty or something. Isn't it?
Okay.
I'll try, but in a 5-car follow.
This is when you're in some conflict with
an officer.
With an officer.
Yeah, upset his feelings.
Yeah, and what happened? You take it from there.
Well, over the radio, like we're in traffic going down these hills, and
you're in a surveillance team. So just explain to the listener, in a surveillance team, you might be travelling one out in the vehicle, and you've got a radio on the back channel, so only your team's hearing what's going on.
And the radio's in your glove box. It's all hidden. Like these are surveillance cars. They're not marked police cars.
Yeah.
To do a follow, you're following someone, and there'll be a car behind that car, maybe 1 or 2 car cover.
Yeah.
But they're keeping an eye on this car that you're following, and you'll have 4 cars behind, and then they'll keep changing position.
Yeah.
So that every time the person we're watching looks in the mirror, it's a different car behind them. So they don't think they're being followed. I mean, some of these people would do any surveillance, and they'd go and park under trees, or they'd chuck Uis in one-way streets, and, because they knew they were, heading to somewhere they shouldn't have been.
In that day too, it was very much physical. There was no electronic surveillance, so it was all eyeballing.
Following the car. And I get this message over the radio, go now. Mm-hmm. So I pull out and I look, and all I could see is the grate of a Big Mac truck. Mm-hmm. And I shut my eyes and I pulled back in, and I don't know how he didn't hit me. I don't know how I'm not dead. And I've still got post-traumatic stress from trying to overtake trucks. The big trucks still get me, because I don't know what he did not to hit me, because I was that close to his grill. I don't know. He must have swerved. I swerved. How we missed, I don't know. And one of the other guys in the team saw it, and he came over the radio and he said, "What the hell are you doing? Why did that happen? Why did you say that?" And the guy in question went, "Oh, I said don't go now." Now, you would never just out of the blue just go, "Don't go now." He goes, "Oh, the radio must have cut out and the don't." Now, we're driving along. Yeah. He just said, "Go now." That was, he's a sick individual. Like that sort of behaviour is frightening.
That was someone that you had knocked back his approaches to you.
Yeah. Wasn't interested in married men.
Right.
So that was the treatment I got. It's scary. It is awful that there are some unwell people with guns.
Okay. Well, I'm just I know the world. Let's tell the story. Okay, so we've got you at the gaming squad. When there was someone that you had said something about about the work, the fact that no one was getting locked up, you were spending a lot of time drinking, you're away on jobs that didn't really play out, and just it sounded like party central. And you started to whinge about that, and that wasn't very well received.
Wasn't well received, but what happened too was I was studying. I was told to improve my career, go to uni, and so I went to Bathurst, and I guess that was another 2 weeks a year that I'd be drinking down at the Rafters Bar at Bathurst, if anyone knows that, but I was studying, I was looking after Irene and John, and my drinking problems became more. My life was so shitty, and I was drinking way over what I should have been. Yeah. And anyway, I was away studying, and I had my own surveillance car, and so a couple of the officers were brought in from the floor, and they were away on a job, and they were chasing an SP bookie. Yeah. And it ended up with $20,000 in the boot of my car. Right. And Kimball Cook and Tracy Hall and John Deek, and this is all very publicised and documented. So I can say their names. And Kimball had come from the radio section. I don't know what was going on there. He was at the radio section, and he'd come back to the gaming squad, and he'd taken over the surveillance team. Yeah. And he's there, and one of the guys, Frank, he used to work with, has come to me and said, "Look, we've got 20,000 in Deb's car. We'll split it up." And Kim was worried, is this like a setup? Yeah. They're going to get me. And so he didn't know what police to go. He didn't feel safe going to any police. Yeah. So what he did was he went to the highway patrol and said, "We're going to lock up, we're going to arrest this sergeant, and his mate." Yeah. And it was unheard of, in those times, for a cop to lock up a cop.
So, okay, so the $20,000 came from a job on an SP bookie.
Yeah, bookie paid the cops.
Okay, surmise how the money got there.
Yeah.
That was in the car while you were away studying, in the car that was allocated to you. And then Kimball Cook found out about it, and he didn't know how.
Well, he was offered a share of the money.
Right, and he thought it was a test or a setup.
He didn't know. He was just like, what do I do? It was a horrible situation to be in.
Yeah.
You know, no one should have to do that. And so he went to the highway patrol. He had to get the highway patrol to help him lock him up. The next day, I rock into work and everyone's just traumatised. Everyone's rocking and the next thing you know, the little surveillance team, people are drawing pictures. They're going to kill us. They're going to get us. They're having discussions.
Right. So just so I understand it, but you got the gaming squad, the investigators,
the big floor,
and then you've got the surveillance team,
little room on the side.
And Kimball Cook was in the surveillance team.
He was running it.
He was running the surveillance team, and he'd given up people that were
on the floor that had come to help with the job, the undercover job.
Okay.
So. Doing the surveillance.
So the majority of the people, or not majority, but people on the floor at the gaming squad were giving it to you guys in the surveillance
big
squad.
Time. Yep. It was dangerous. We were all scared.
Yep.
And it was a horrible situation. It was just ridiculous. And I got an overnight transfer. I said, I can't. And even though I wasn't even there or part of it, I was just tarred with the same brush.
Yeah.
And it was my car, and so I'm in on it. And so the boss of the gaming squad said, look, you live out at Gallinori, we'll put you at Parramatta. I had an overnight transfer for my physical safety from other police to Parramatta. But by the time I got to Parramatta, they already knew who I was, what had happened, and I was classified as a dog and a whistleblower and
well,
I'm not a desirable person to be moved to a detective's
I can buy
office.
into that because it always, and we're going back a very long time, but I remember the first time I remember your name, I was at the detective's office and it was, got to watch out for her. Got to watch out for her.
I wasn't popular.
No.
No, because I was honest.
I
was honest.
Yeah.
What a terrible thing.
No, well, you did have, people were pre-warned about you.
Everyone. It was absolutely ridiculous. And yet, still, my first job at Parramatta with the partner I got, he said, we're going to go do a break and enter. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, okay. So we went off in the car and he...
Do real police work.
work. And I thought, oh, here we go. I'm at the detective's office. But we really were going to do a break and enter. So it was like, I'm going, no, nothing's changed. Actually, Parramatta... Like, the gaming squad was like a circus, but Parramatta was a different ballgame. Like, we're drinking with Roger Rogerson, we're hanging out with Roger, we're hanging out with Louis Bayer, Billy Bayer, Lenny McPherson, like all the big gangsters of the time were associating with certain members of the Parramatta Detectives Office,
When you met Roger, what was he like?
Look, Roger's was a very intelligent man and charismatic. He was life of the party. He could play piano and he held court. Yeah. And, everyone, they'd all suck up to him. They'd all want to be at the Chinese restaurants and sitting around the table and, and it was fun times, But
and look, it seems ridiculous now. You look back and you go,
this is like, where's the cameras?
But at the start, you think, Jesus, is this how they operate at this level? Because you felt like you're stepping up to a level. Now, people might say, okay, well, you should have stood up and said that. If you address that right from the start, no one would listen to you. Something would happen to you, and you would be, And it's a difficult world to understand, but I understand it because I was in that world. I know, and you had to navigate your way through and make sure you didn't compromise yourself.
But as a woman, it was
that makes it so much harder.
Yeah, and Lenny McPherson. Why I went to the commissioner, why I went to Lauer and got told I was a whistleblower. We were at the Park Royal at Parramatta and Lenny McPherson's there and there's drinks going on that and I was pulled out the back and this officer goes to me, it was a paper gun licence. I don't know what the hell it was all about. Lenny wanted a gun licence for his wife. I still today don't know what that was all about. And when I've seen McPherson and I've seen Gladesville and they're going, go to Gladesville Police Station and just go, and I'm going, doing that. And I'm hanging on to the piece of paper, so my fingerprints are on it. And then they go, we'll give you money. And they kept offering more money and shoving money in my hand.
They wanted you to go there and pretend you're Lenny McPherson's wife and make the application or something.
It was all insane. Like, it never made sense. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everyone would know who Lenny McPherson's wife was at the time, second wife. And I'm going, this is nuts. But what it was, I went, they got me. Like, because my fingerprints were on that piece of paper.
Yeah.
And that's why I went, because I kept saying to them, don't drag me into your stuff.
Yeah.
Don't. I'm here I'm drinking, I'm eating. This is all part of the culture, but I'm not doing anything corrupt because I valued being a cop. I loved my job. I worked hard to get there. I was studying. I was, I thought I had a career path that was going to go on and that I'd still be there. And that's what happens with whistleblowing. You make a complaint against someone, your career's over, you're ostracised, and they get promoted.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work? I don't get it. And it's not just in the cops.
No.
It's in any large bureaucracy, and it comes from the top.
Yeah.
And when you had a commissioner like Tony Lauer, the culture was encouraged.
But you make an interesting point that when your fingerprints were on that document, because
they had me.
I navigated the way through because once they got you, they got you.
Yeah,
and
$1. If you took $1,
you're
then
stuffed.
Whatever they're doing, you're part of. Yeah. And that was like the money under the bed.
Yeah.
Like Chuckles knew not to touch it.
Yeah.
Because once if he'd taken any, every job he did, he'd have to take.
Yeah.
It's one in, all in.
Well, that's. I had enough street awareness that if they've got you once,
that's it.
They've got you.
They got you. They own you.
Yeah.
They own you.
Yeah, so that's where it was difficult navigating. I feel sorry for some people, and not a lot of people have been caught out with the corruption, but I saw what I would consider weak people that were influenced by more powerful characters, because some of them were very charismatic, that were influenced, they're the big, and they got this awesome reputation, or supposed reputation, and you think, wow. And I saw some people fall foul of the Royal Commission and flowing on from there, that I think were just weak people that couldn't push themselves away from it or stand away from it. They were intimidated into just complying with the boys' club.
They're all sheep, and they're scared, and we've got to fit in. And they would pick their marks, and they were the ones that would go around and run around and do it. And so, and that concept too, when the Royal Commission happened, I ran around with John Hatton and I went to so many people and go, you know what's going on, you know what's going on. I did 8 stacked decks. He, at Parliament House after midnight, got the Wood Royal Commission. I was the only officer that was prepared to sign a stat deck saying there was current police corruption. We flew in a little plane to Canberra. We went everywhere and begged people
to sign up for it.
To back me up.
Yep.
And they all went, I've got a wife, I've got a mortgage, they're going to get me, They were spineless and disgusting. That they stood around and watched it all. And I think I believe with that policy, if you watch this stuff and don't say anything or let it keep going, but to not back up and stand up when it counted.
Yeah.
And Hatton doesn't get acknowledged much for what he did.
Like, he was a crusader, and he had to crusade for a long time. We're talking the state politician trying to get this inquiry into New South Wales Police. I've been out of the cops now 6 years. It has changed, and it's changed, and we'll talk about why it's changed, and a big part of it's changed because of the courage that you have shown. But there's still the boys' club. There's still, and I think, I get frustrated with people that didn't work, and that mind-numbing, we're just doing this, we're doing surveillance. You've been doing surveillance on that house for the past 10 months and you haven't seen anything. How about we do some police work?
No.
And that still goes on. And there's the hard workers, and there's the boys, and I saw people that I'd have issues with someone, and I'd get, but he's a good bloke.
Oh, he's a good bloke, yeah.
But he's a good bloke.
He's a good bloke.
And
wouldn't be a good girl, a good Sheila. It's always a good bloke.
But a good bloke. Oh, no, he's okay. He's a good bloke. And I got so fucking sick of hearing that. No, he's lazy. Yeah. He's not doing his work. He's incompetent. I wouldn't trust him as far as I throw him. Oh, but he's a good bloke. Yeah. And there is that culture is still there, sadly.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And but look, you've at Parramatta. What what was the genesis for you leaving Parramatta? What happened?
Oh God, now you're asking me something. Because because of that, getting back to that gun license for Lenny.
Yeah.
And I'd had some interesting times with Roger and Louis Bayer and that, but because I went to Tony Lauer, and they knew that I'd put him in the Parramatta Detective's office before I even got back to the office.
How did you get
a phone call?
How did you get an audience with Tony Lauer? Because he would have been deputy commissioner at the time. Or?
When I ended up, I went to go to the commissioner, and then they said that he was about to retire, and Tony Lauer was going to be the new commissioner. You're going to see him. We met in a corridor doorway, very cloak and daggers. And he just looked at me with this disgust and said, "You don't know what a detective is." You know, I was a detective at the time. And he said to me, "You're a whistleblower." And I'd never heard that term before. And it took a lot for me to build up. I'm speaking to the new commissioner that's coming through. No, you know, he obviously knew he was going to be a commissioner, but no one else had, nothing else had been said publicly before that. And sure enough, he did soon after that become commissioner. And I got up my courage and I bravely said to him, "What's a whistleblower?" And I was sort of debating. I'm standing there in shock going, I better ask him because I don't even know what I am, but it sounded like a really bad thing.
Yeah.
And he looked at me with disgust and said, "That's cops who dob in cops."
Yeah.
Because I very quickly learnt what a whistleblower was, because once you get marked, your career's over. I didn't know my career was over.
You didn't?
No.
Right.
Once I was told I was a whistleblower. And what they did for my safety at Parramatta, they put me with Michael Drury.
Right.
Now, Michael Drury had been shot in 1984, it was, the year I joined, in front of his wife Pam and kids at Chatswood.
Yeah, and I think most people listening would have heard the Michael Drury story, that he was a undercover cop and he was shot at his home. Fairly significant injuries. I remember seeing the injuries that he had. But on his dying deathbed, he said that a bribe was offered to him by Roger Rogerson to go cold on a case or something along those lines. Anyway, it's played out as part of folklore in Sydney underworld situation. But after that, Mick he still stayed in the cops. He reported it. There was trials and all sorts of things. And you've gone to see Lauer, and he steered you towards Mick Drury. Is that how it played out?
Well, I think internal affairs. I think they were getting worried that they were going to get me at Parramatta.
Right.
And Mick was working out of the old hat factory. It was an old police building. It had horrible. It was a creepy place. They had a security guard on the front thing. It is a creepy place. And
a lot of history there.
There's a lot of history. Yeah. There was a copper that was going to speak out against the abortion squad in the 70s, and he got shot sitting on the toilet. Right. And I got told a few times that was going to happen to me, shoot myself in the head while I'm sitting on the toilet. Yeah. And but Mick was working on these gotcha cars, and it was Ted Pickering was the police minister at the time.
Okay, just to keep it in context, Parramatta is getting too hot for you there because
they were scared for my safety and from the detectives in the office.
What sort of things were said to you at Parramatta? Was it subtle or was it overt?
Oh, no, it was more like you're going to disappear, bitch. You're going to pay for what you've done.
How did you interpret that?
I took it that, after Mick getting shot,
like you?
They were pretty angry.
Yeah.
They were pretty damn angry with me, and I think they knew there was conversations had about me disappearing, and that was the thing. They'd had the trouble with Mick. They did the movie Blue Murder and he'd been shot, and that ended up he'd made a dying declaration about Roger.
That's
and
right.
so if he died,
yeah,
maybe a few other people would still be alive, Roger would have been done for that. And Sally Ann Huckstep, I saw her just before they killed her.
Yeah, she came was it King's Cross Police Station?
Speaking
to you the day she disappeared.
Day before, yeah. And she had a sore arm, and she's going, "Oh, you're just a woodchuck." And she'd had trouble with Roger, and next thing you know, she's dead. And she was a whistleblower. She'd gone on Current Affairs and spoke out about Roger.
So you're
the same people that I was pulling on other people that had done it prior to me, it ended up dead or shot or, So
and how old were
you?
you at this stage?
25.
Yeah,
I was a baby.
You're a kid.
I was a kid.
You're a kid.
And I remember Irene at home, she was shutting the windows. She's going, you know what they did to Mick Drury, we're going to die, And she was very angry.
Yeah.
I'd really upset the family
tree
now, And it was really, I know, like I was told by a number of people, there was serious conversations about ending me, but there'd been so much trouble. And because I was a policewoman and because of the family I came from, they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like I was a loose cannon. And so they stuck me with Mick, and Mick looked really impressed when he got me. And I'm going, what are you doing? Saving on petrol. You're going to let Roger come to both of us, on one trip,
Yeah.
And my drinking just got so bad. I was so depressed. I'd stuffed up my career. And this is the stage where I get to Alcoholics Anonymous.
Okay, so this is, how long have you been in the cops now for? 4 years?
6 years, maybe.
6 years. Okay, and you've gone from gaming, and that got ugly on what happened at gaming.
With the Alan Tripp.
Then you've gone to Parramatta, and you're going out and taking reports of break-in enters that haven't happened, and told to go get Lenny McPherson's wife a gun license and all
lots
that.
Lots more.
Oh,
every day was a circus.
Yeah. And it's become known that you're gone to Laowa or gone to internal affairs, and so and you think you're at risk. Just because Mick Drury got shot and Sally Ann Huckstep disappeared and a few other things. Understandable. You're not in a very good position, are you?
It was like my career was over and it was dead, and I'm stuck with these stupid gotcha cars, which was a situation of getting paid to sit around and, it was a joke. They never arrested anyone. These cars were supposed to, people were supposed to break into them. And then he wanted smoke and signs to come up going, you've been caught by a gotcha car.
I was watching, after speaking to you and reading your book, and then I watched the Underbelly, the Golden Mile again, just having a look, put some of the things in context, which, you play a main character in the Underbelly Golden Mile, or Deborah Webb, I think your character.
Maiden name.
Character. That hid your true identity. But the gotcha car, tell me, because I always have an issue with police ministers. I'm not naming anyone, so don't get that think they're actually police. Yeah. And there's been a few of them down the track that, I'm a police minister, therefore I'm as tough as cool as the police. The police minister, without naming names, came up with the idea for the gotcha cars, and that was a couple of bomb cars that they had. If someone broke into it, once they got in the car, it self-locked.
Yeah, there was little tiny bolts about this big, and they'd lock and they just kicked. And so one guy got caught and he kicked the door up. But we were going to Vinnie's, we were getting purses and leaving money on the dash, and people would ring up security at the shopping centre and say, "Oh, there's a car unlocked with money in it."
So they didn't know what to do with you.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do with you? We've got Mick Drury that he has earned the right to be tucked away somewhere
in hiding
after what happened to him, and they've sent you on this special operation, the gotcha cars. Oh. And did the police minister really turn up there and get all excited about the plan?
It was great. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, but it wasn't good. It was a bit sad.
And you and Mick, so you were virtually second in charge of the gotcha car operation. You got Mick, and then they were rotating junior constables in to work with you, and you park the car and then sit off the car for days, months.
Yeah, just sat there.
Yeah. And that's when you started drinking and life, or not? You didn't start drinking, but
my drinking crossed that red line. Yeah. I lost the plot. In the end, Mick put someone else second in charge. Yeah. And I just went, I don't care. He goes, do you want to run the group or not? And I'm going, I just turn up here and I drink. Yeah. And the mess I was in, and no one did anything about it. Yeah. And I nearly died. I had an ectopic pregnancy, and I laid in the men's toilets. I couldn't get the women's toilets all night. Yeah. And Mick saw me the next day and he's going, oh, you must have just been drunk. You must have been. I said, I haven't been drinking. Yeah. And I said, I'm really crook. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I was so, it had burst. Yeah. And I was dying. I was literally, I could feel myself dying. And I went to Paddington Women's Hospital, and I had my loaded gun and a police car, a gotcha car, and I've turned up and they're going, we're going to do emergency surgery on you. You've burst inside. You're dying. And there was another prostitute I knew from up the cross there. She was having a miscarriage and she's the only one helping me. And I said, well, I've got this loaded gun. Can you stick it in your... And they're going, what? And I'm going, and Mick went and got someone to get the car. Yeah. And it was just nuts. And I was in there for about a month. I was so crook. Like they had to take the fallopian tube out. Right, and it was... Major and they were going, it was majors. And I was so close to dying. It wasn't funny. You know, like I felt myself dying. And I thought, I'm going to die here. Yeah. And that was my wake-up point. Well, I'm an atheist, and I upset some people in AA because it's a bit of a Christian thing. But I actually always joked that I would pray the moment I was about to die, just in case there was a God. Yeah. And they said to me, go to the toilet, put on this operating gown, we're going to operate on you now, and we don't think you're going to make it. Yeah. So I've gone in the women's toilets, and I've gone, I'm going to pray, because just in case I die. And I went, look, I'm going to try and be a better person. If you let me survive this, just in case, you know. And I didn't realise that deal I made with whoever was for me to stop drinking. Right. It still took me a couple of years to actually get sober. Yeah. But that was a turning point where I went, I've gone to my rock bottom. I nearly died, and I had to get away from Mick and the gotcha cars. Yeah. And I'm going to resurrect my career. I'm going to wear a suit. I'll go to the fraud squad. They'll be good blokes. Okay,
so you were looking at
got sober.
Going to revamp.
Revamp.
How long were you at the Gotcha Strike Force for?
Yeah. It was just a blur of depression. Yeah. Maybe over a year. Yeah. It was horrible.
Well, if you're not working, and I see this with police, because there's some police and they're looking at the clock or just when they're going to get their next drink. Over my career, I'm not talking about just specific time period, but it's a soulless existence, isn't it? If you turn up for work every day and you're not achieving anything, you come home and what have I actually done? And you know, people are calling police heroes, and you think, well, I haven't done anything all day, like.
And I've got people calling me a dog and being horrible to me, and so I'm just like,
it didn't have a lot going for you.
And I'm waiting for Roger to get me or someone else.
We got you at a situation that's pretty low, but things get lower. That's how we'll invite people back for part two. Okay. Like for the chaos of your life and your career in the police, it gets a lot worse. And I think people, when they hear, will be shocked by how you were treated. But there's a happy ending at the end, or you're still here, you've survived.
I'm still alive.
Yeah, so
still standing.